I mean, it's an absolutely beautiful garment. I mean, I imagine totally different than creating a male or men's jacket.
Yeah, it definitely is. It's because it's a very female jacket, and it has to be made and tailored to that form. So it's not basically, we're not taking the stamp out of a male jacket and putting it onto a female form. It's a completely different way of building that coat.
I kind of wanted exactly what you've been making all of your clients, but for me.
Hi, I'm Kirby Allison, and today I'm very excited to welcome Master Tailor Eric Jensen into our office of Sartoria Gallo. We just finished the final fitting of a beautiful bespoke suit that he's made for me. One of the things that people don't realize is Eric is also an expert at women's tailoring. So in today's video, we're going to take a look at one of the pieces he's created for his wife, Rachel. Hey, Eric, thank you so much for coming into the office.
Yeah.
You know, it's always such an honor to have you here in Dallas. Such a pleasure. And again, we just finished an incredible video filming the final fitting of a beautiful, absolutely spectacular piece that you just created for me. So
I'm very excited to be here. I always love coming to Dallas. Great to see you. Great to see the state of Texas. And I just thought it'd be fun to kind of show the women that tailoring can also be accessible to them. Especially nowadays when you have, women holding such incredible positions in business, in the boardroom, in front of the judge, and even as judge. So I also feel like they don't get represented within the tailoring world.
Yeah.
They're almost kind of left to have to choose something off the rack.
Yeah.
And you and I know how difficult it is to even find things that fit us off the rack. Mm-hmm. So imagine being a woman with all the intricacies of a woman that they have to be able to find something that actually fits them.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure the fit for a woman is even more different just because of, you have an even greater degree of different body shapes and, peculiarities. Right. So, I mean, finding something that fits well off the rack is, all but impossible.
Yes.
Right. But then also finding something that can be done, bespoke or made to measure also is in fact quite difficult because of the expertise required to really understand the female body and how to fit that.
Yeah, exactly. And how to get the cloth to drape on the female form correctly.
Yeah.
And then you also have to be able to, give the female client what they want. And there's a lot of differences in regards to how they want their suits to look and how they want their clothes to look. And so that's a whole nother process that you kind of go through.
Yeah.
The other great thing about doing bespoke for women is they actually get a fiber that's actually wool.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, because if you look off the rack nowadays for women, if you look at their tags, it's like maybe 10% wool, 5% wool, and the rest of it's kind of some semblance of spandex, And so it makes it easier for the off the rack people to be able to fit many bodies. Yeah. But in this case, now you can actually use real wools and real beautiful fabrics.
Yeah. Well, and the bespoke process where you can choose from an entire book of different cloths and fabrics, go through the bespoke design process of really specifying and kind of styling the suit.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
And one of the other things is also being able to experience the beautiful construction of a proper Italian bespoke garment.
Exactly, yeah. And just to give that whole world and open up that whole new world to female clients, I think is incredible. Especially nowadays, like I said, they're holding positions where they deserve such garments.
Yeah.
And I think it's fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. So your wife, Rachel, is here,
yes.
right? She's very graciously volunteered to kind of be our model.
Exactly.
And so, of course, you're working on a piece for her.
Yeah. So we've already started. She selected the cloth. So we're at the first fitting stage, and that's kind of what I really wanted to show, is just to be able to show that aspect and show how we go through that process with female clients.
Yeah, great. Well, let's have Rachel up here and take a look what you have for her.
Fantastic.
Hey, Rachel, thank you so much for coming in today and letting us take a look at this suit that Eric is creating for you. And also a beautiful shirt, right? So this is something you made also?
Oh, yeah. So, we did do this bespoke shirt for her as well. So this is actually a really beautiful Carlo Riva in full linen. So it's,
a beautiful shirt. And I love, of course, Carlo Riva does absolutely fantastic work. Very Italian.
Very Italian.
Located off of Lake Como.
Yep.
And this particular is 100% linen or linen cotton
100%
blend?
linen, yeah. So this is 100% linen. And then it's made for her. So we have her pattern on file.
Yeah.
And then each piece is, kind of is bespoken for her. So this is her first shirt that we've made for her. What we do when we do shirts for women and for men is we always do their first shirt, and then we have them wear it for a while, and then their subsequent shirts get built off of that. Mm-hmm. Because a shirt is a very kind of personal thing.
Yeah.
And so when you stand in front of the mirror, you think, oh, I look great. But when you live in it, you realize I need a little more room here. I need a little less room here. I need to be able to do X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
So your subsequent shirts, we break your pattern down and change them in regards to how you live in your shirt.
Your first shirt.
Yeah. So,
which kind of reminds me, I need to definitely get on the list for a shirt
because
your shirts are beautiful.
Yes, they're fantastic.
Yeah, it's one of the things that I guess many people don't realize is that, again, you also do shirts.
Yeah, so a lot of people don't understand that, Bespoke tailors don't just make suits. We kind of run the gamut. We make top coats, rain coats, anything someone can think up out of, wool or cotton.
Yeah.
Or any semblance of that.
Yeah. So beautiful fabric, and it looks like a herringbone. So talk a little bit about this.
Yeah, so it's a herringbone. There's a slight herringbone to it, so you can see that kind of difference in the blues. So there's a softer blue and a darker blue, and then there's a slight pinstripe in it as well. It's almost kind of a burnt orange wine kind of color, which is really, really soft and subtle. The beautiful thing about this cloth is it's from Cacciapoli. What Cacciapoli did with this specific book is they worked with an English mill. So the saying in all of kind of the tailoring world is if only, the English could mill the cloth and the Italians could dye it. Because the English mill is such a beautiful, nice, kind of heavy, sturdy, well, maintaining cloth. And then they kind of dye it in colors that are a little, drab. And then the Italians, they dye these beautiful, rich colors with this incredible, kind of intricacies and vibrancies to them. But their cloth never is as, sturdy and beautiful as the English. So Cacciapoli actually finally said, well, let's do that.
Ship you the yarns.
Yeah. So what they did was they dyed everything and came up with these beautiful colored palettes and had the English kind of mill it. So that's what we have in this cloth.
Well, it's a beautiful cloth. So this is a first fitting.
Yeah.
Right.
So we're in a first fitting right now. So it's all just basted together. So we're in a shell of a look.
And we've got trousers and a jacket too.
Yes, exactly. Okay. So right now we're on just trousers. Okay. So Rachel decided to do 2 pleats. So we have a front pleat and a side pleat there.
Okay.
And then we're just right now looking at drape and cut, and then you're wearing these with braces, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So she'll have them cut for braces. So they have a little bit of room in the waistband.
Okay. Yeah, great.
And then the way that the trousers sit on the hips. So I'm happy with that. The other thing that's very important in regards to dealing with trousers with women is to speak to them about their footwear. Because a trouser can be cut specifically to a certain footwear. It can also change, depending on what is worn. The thing that we can't do is make a trouser that works for both. So if she's going to wear heels most often, which are you?
Yes, I believe I will.
Okay. So if she's going to wear heels most often in the suit, then we want to talk about a length that works well with a heel, as opposed to a flat shoe or a loafer or even a ballerina flat. So with a heel, I like this length. I think maybe we might want to go a little bit longer.
Yes, I think a little longer.
Okay.
Just a touch.
Yeah, just probably like a centimeter, just to have it sit more on the top of your foot.
Yeah.
If she was wearing flats, this would probably be the right length, because when your heel is flat, your trouser will lie more flat on it. When your heel is up on a heel, then it's gonna angle that foot down, so your trouser needs to come down just a little bit to have. But yeah, I think in general, this is a good fit for a trouser. And nice room in the hips and legs. So for a woman, we usually like to accentuate a little bit more in the seat, depending on the client. So I think we talked about this in regards to Kirby's suit, is everything's kind of, determinative on the client. So for most women, you want to add a little bit or give a little more shape to a seat, unless that's something that they're uncomfortable with. So you have to have that dialogue with your client. But for me, I think this is a good drape. It comes clean off of the seat, has a nice bring in on the back leg of the trouser. So yeah, I think this is a good trouser for you.
Yeah, and you said cut with braces, a little bit more room.
Yeah, cut with braces, a little bit more room.
Yeah.
Good. So now we'll try on the coat. Okay. So the conversation has already been had with Rachel prior to this fitting, was how she wanted her coat length to be. So we really went with a coat length that was going to be a lot more kind of standard or almost in the masculine realm. So we went with a coat length that was going to be something that she could wear for business and wear often for business. And that's mostly to do with her job and the way that she works within the sartoria as well. So we really wanted to have her have a coat that's almost masculine in flavor, but still had that shape and beauty of a women's coat. When we fit for women, the main thing that we're looking for is the chest, because you always want to make sure that you flatter the chest, but you don't have a breakaway on the chest. So if we had these breaking out like that, we'd know that we need to fix that on the chest. But for her, I think that we have a nice flat lie. Very clean. I've pinned it extra so that I know that we can probably take this coat in just a little bit. But I always have to be aware of that when we're putting in our pockets and things like that, because that's going to add a little bit more room to it.
I mean, it's an absolutely beautiful garment. I mean, I imagine totally different than creating a male or men's jacket.
Yeah, it definitely is. It's because it's a very female jacket, and it has to be made and tailored to that form. So it's not we're not taking the stamp out of a male jacket and putting it onto a female form. It's a completely different way of building that coat. Small things like the darts behind here that goes extra long, and then you have this piece out there that's a hammer dart.
Yeah.
And where we place that, and that helps to have the coat form to the chest here while giving expression and fullness there. So every little piece and every little detail has to be completely different. Yeah. The other thing is a woman's coat has a range of how it can go. Yeah. So for instance, with this coat with Rachel, we did a very businessy coat because that's what she needed that's what this garment kind of served. Yeah, and it's for. But for other women, they could want something that's going to be cropped or something that's going to have a little more expression, a little less expression. Women kind of have such a huge range of how they can build their coats. And that's kind of the fun thing about women entering into the bespoke world, is getting to kind of have this process, and go through this.
Absolutely. I mean, it's certainly, it seems like the latitude to kind of make changes and depart from what you would say is like, quote unquote, a standard rule is much greater than what you find, with male tailoring.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, and everything as we build this coat, we'll kind of express that as well. So as we go through the fitting, the other thing we're checking is sleeve drape. So you want to make sure that your sleeve position is correct. So we could probably bring this back just a little. Sorry. Back just a touch. And then the fronts I think are great, but the back definitely has to be adjusted. So a lot of women stand in a more erect posture than males do. It's just kind of a normal, or kind of something I've seen very often. So we want to make sure that we take care of that. So this has to do a lot with the balance. It's the same thing we do with your coat. So what it is when you stand erect, you need more cloth over your front and less cloth over your back. When you have a back that looks like this, that means you have too much cloth there. So a lot of people will say, oh, it's too tight or it's too loose. But it's actually not the case. If you bring this cloth up and get rid of it, that perfect. Cleans up. Yeah. So that's the main thing. And a lot of people will see that, like I said, and just think, it's a too tight or too loose coat. But they'll keep trying to take it in or let it out, and it'll never take care of that problem. The main problem is you just have to get rid of the excess cloth.
You need to do that from the top?
Yeah, so we do that from the top. Or in this case, we'll actually do it from the sides, but that's a lot of explanation. Yeah. Basically what we're doing is we're shortening this whole back panel.
Talk to me a little bit about just the way that the shoulder is cut, because this, again, slopes much more towards the back than, say, one of my jackets that might come a little bit more down the shoulder line.
Yeah. So it's a lot in how the narrowness of the most women's shoulders are. So you and I have more of a fullness from our back blade to our front, where women will have a little more of a petiteness there. Again, everything's kind of dependent on client. But for the most part, clients like this will have that smaller area. So this seam will actually end up being further back that way. It's also kind of adds a little bit of interest, I think.
Yeah. I've seen some, men's jackets cut with the slide kind of backwards.
Yeah. There's a lot
angle.
of Italianness to that as well. So some of yours will, I don't know if that one does, but sometimes it will have that as well.
Yeah. Well, it's a beautiful, again, look at the shape that's in here now. Very clean.
Very clean. And to give the woman that shape of the small of the back, I think is a really, really great, kind of thing.
Yeah, and more waist suppression in this jacket than what you would typically find.
Than what we would typically find. So what we do is we'll add a little more to that dart there so that we can bring that in. Maybe
even more.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a gorgeous cloth.
I think the cloth is absolutely stunning.
And that's what's fun about, I would imagine the bespoke process for women is that you're not relegated to just what's on the rack or what that season's designer said, is going to look great. Absolutely beautiful jacket. I love the wider lapels. And again, that exaggeration, that Italians love so much, really comes out in the women's wear because, you have a little bit more latitude for that.
Yeah, and actually that's true what you said about Italian because I chose these lapels because I wanted something very Italian. And that's kind of why I chose the length and the lapels. I kind of wanted exactly what you've been making all of your clients, but for me, just on this piece, because I might do something different next time.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, that's what's fun about the bespoke process, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's nice having a husband who's a bespoke tailor.
Very nice.
No, I think that's kind of the fun thing and to be able to go through it. And your first piece, I think, like same with men and for women as well, the first piece can be almost daunting because there's almost too many options. But then once you start narrowing down what you're looking for, what you want.
Yeah. And will this go through the same process as we went through together where you get a first fitting, second fitting, and then kind of a forward finished fitting almost?
Yep, it'll go through the exact same process. For this coat particularly, I think I did a pretty great job.
Yeah.
Not to pat my own back.
Yeah, well, you know the physique.
Yeah, but I know the physique. So for her, we'll probably wouldn't do a second fitting because I'm happy with where we're at and I know what needs to be done. So we'll probably just go straight to a forward fitting.
And then construction is still the same. Like all the handwork that you would have and
exact same.
That durability that's built into the jacket to give it the longevity.
The difference cannot be, you can't make that difference between a male coat in regards to the handwork and the female coat in regards to the handwork because that's the essence of the trade. And so, you wouldn't do less for anybody else.
And I think it's another great example of just how well the shirt and the coat work together.
Yeah, it's kind of fantastic.
You can really see, the very tall collar.
Yeah.
In some ways, women have the benefit of being able to have very exaggerated pieces.
Yes.
Relative to maybe what a man would order.
Yeah.
And I think that, especially with Italian tailoring, it's such a great expression of what the Italians really love to do, which is, of course, always to exaggerate as much as they can get away with.
Yes. Any little option.
Any opportunity.
Exactly. Yeah, so just I thought it was going to be a fun thing to show.
Well, thanks for sharing this. Thank you for
my pleasure.
Yeah. And is this? Is the price point similar to men's tailoring? Is it more?
No, same price point.
Yeah.
The main thing is because all the work and the craftsmanship behind it is the exact same. The cloth choices that you get to choose is the exact same.
Well, shoot, I would almost think it'd be more. The amount of it's almost seems like more work goes into this in some ways.
Yeah. It is and it isn't. There's aspects where you have to devote a little more time to.
Yeah.
So, but I think it's like any other craft or any other garment. It's we put the same amount of time at the end into every piece.
Yeah. Again, absolutely beautiful piece, and Rachel, thank you so much for allowing us to see this process.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you.
What a beautiful garment. So that's going to be a lot of fun to be able to not only create women's garments, but to be able to create one for your wife.
Yeah, no, I think it's a great thing. It's something we've been specializing in for a long time. When I trained under Maestro Gallo in Rome, we had a woman who taught us how to do women's tailoring as well. So it's something that's been a part of our history and tradition for a long time. And I'm excited to be able to get that out and kind of share it with the American public of what we can do and what we specialize in.
Absolutely. Whenever we were designing our collection of women's hangers, what we found is that if the gap in men's hangers was large, the gap in women's hangers was huge.
Definitely.
Because the approach was just to take something that was originally done for men's garments and just market it to women.
Yeah. And
I don't know if that's the same in women's wear, but it seems to be the case.
Yeah, it's definitely the case. You can tell in almost every aspect. So the gap in men, from how we stand and how we're built is like this, and then in regards to women, it's probably
even more dramatic.
Yeah, it's even more dramatic. So why they've never why no one has ever kind of said, a bespoke option for women should be forefront is beyond me. So I'm really excited to be able to do it.
Well, I would imagine that most women probably just don't realize that you can go to a bespoke tailor that is traditionally only doing something for men and have them do women's wear. Yeah. And also, I mean, even amongst, the universe of bespoke tailors, the subset that really understand bespoke women's tailoring is probably, smaller than that entire population, right?
Definitely. Yeah. So you have a very small population that actually knows what they're doing. There are great tailors that do know, how to cut for women. And I think it's something that women should definitely be aware of and take advantage of.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, great. Well, so someone that is interested in kind of learning more about kind of your bespoke women's tailoring, what's the best way for them to get in touch with you?
Yeah, I mean, you can reach us at, our email address, which is newyork@sartoriagallo.com. You can give us a ring. You can find our number on, our website. And you can even DM us on Instagram, which is at newyork@sartoriagallo.com.
Yeah, absolutely. And all the links to that, of course, can be found in the description of this video. And I think actually, as you mentioned your Instagram right now, which I really enjoy.
Thank you.
Right? I mean, not only for the behind the scenes stuff, but also seeing pictures of your other garments.
Yeah.
But there's a photograph on there of an overcoat you did for Rachel.
Yes,
that is just drop dead gorgeous.
It's fantastic. It's a beautiful camel top coat, and made out of real camel hair. And
it's incredible.
It's warmer. It's warmer than anything she's ever had before.
Yeah, so. I bet. Well, and it's certainly, it's beautiful. It's a gorgeous overcoat.
Appreciate it.
Again, a great testament to kind of the work that you're able to do for women.
Yeah, definitely. It's a great option for women to take advantage of.
Great. Well, Eric, hey, thank you so much for coming into the studio, and I really appreciate you sharing that with us.
Thank you so much.
Eric Jensen, right? I mean, again, this is such a great example of just the talent of a true master tailor. I mean, a master tailor is someone that really understands the garments in such a profound way, and so to be able to take two-dimensional cloth and sculpt it into a three-dimensional form, and to do it as magnificently as we just saw with that piece that Eric designed and made for Rachel, again, couldn't be a better representation of quality craftsmanship and tradition. So it's always fun. I mean, I'm always discovering something new, especially whenever I'm meeting with truly talented bespoke tailors, and to see Eric kind of go through that piece and kind of what goes into it really was very eye-opening for me. So I hope you enjoyed that. Of course, one of the best ways to support this channel is to visit KirbyAllison.com. There you'll find the largest collection of luxury garment hangers, luxury shoe care products, and other luxury clothing accessories like this beautiful sovereign grade tie I'm wearing today. And since we're on the topic of women's wear, again, just like most bespoke tailors, we primarily focus with men, but we do have an incredible collection of women's hangers that we created really from scratch, from the ground up, exclusively for the unique needs of women. And so these are some hangers that we've just fully restocked. We've kind of recommitted ourselves to that line, and then you can find that online at KirbyAllison.com. I'm Kirby Allison, and I love to help the well-dressed acquire and care for their wardrobes while discovering the world of quality craftsmanship and tradition. Thanks for watching.